Hey, my name is William Stanley. I am a 19-year-old Florida State student from West Palm Beach, Florida, and I'm an avid reader, or at least I call myself. I read 1 to 2 books a week, which I know isn't a lot to some, but it's enough for me to decide to start doing some summaries and book reviews. So here's episode 1 of the William Stanley Book Reviews / Book Club. Alright, so the first book we're going to be doing is David and Goliath by Malcom Gladwell. And most of the books I'll be doing focus on business or books that I think you can bring back into business that'll help you along the future, or help me at least. I'm doing this for myself for the most part, to be honest with you. I know, selfish. But alright, so in this book they start off they don't start off, but the first thing I'm going to talk about is dyslexia. Now, many people have dyslexia in America. It's actually a very big thing that is talked about through politics and school system, and it kind of bogs people down, like when they can't figure out math problems and simple reading when they're very young. It confuses them. It makes them feel like they're stupid, and that's kind of what the system does in essence. So what in this, Malcolm Gladwell did some research and has a lot of citations in the book to prove all the findings. But what they really found was that all these dyslexic people that actually overcame their dyslexia and were able to succeed did so because they were able to think in a different way than people that didn't have dyslexia, like myself. I haven't been honing my focusing skills and my ability to learn in different manners like people that have dyslexia were able to do. So, I know this might sound strange, that why would anyone say that dyslexia is a good thing to have? That's not what I'm saying. That's not what Malcolm Gladwell is saying. But there are advantages in the disadvantages that come through life. That is the point of this book. For almost the entire book, that is the central focal point. Now, he interviewed many people, and one of them happened to be the president of Goldman Sachs. He had had trouble with dyslexia all his life, and said that he would never wish it upon anyone else to go through what he went through. But it did make him think in a different way, which made him focus more throughout his life, and thus ending in his outrageous situation to get a job on Wall Street, which further led to him going to become the president of Goldman Sachs. Now, I'm going to actually read a quote from the book here that caught my interest. Alright, bear with me here. But the question of what any of us would wish on our children is the wrong question, isn't it? The right question is whether we are, as a society, need people who have emerged from some kind of trauma, and the answer is plainly, we do. So, what it's saying is, unfortunately, people that go through troubled times, such as having dyslexia or disadvantages, is actually good for the greater society, because these people learn to think in different ways than the average person, and these are the people that change the course of society and that are able to think outside the box even more so than creatives that lack deficiencies. So, like the old saying, there is beauty in the struggle and in adversity. Now, to go on to another point or another chapter in the book, I'm not going in chronological order, by the way. I'm just taking out like golden nuggets, as I say, from the book, and taking out what I felt was most important. So they went on to talk about the civil rights movement, and of course MLK was brought up. He was on the forefront of the entire thing. And what really caught my eye, well, while I was reading the book, is like what I really focused on was that MLK wasn't such of a pacifist, that like that wasn't the leading reason why he said no violence in his marches. It was more of a calculated move in that he wanted to go peacefully to the police in their cities, in a sort of way provoke them to be malicious enough to attack the protesters that were being peaceful. Because when this happened, like present day going on with the police brutality, it discredits the police. Now, what I'm saying is when you have a legal entity or a law enforcement entity, they're supposed to uphold justice by certain means, but that only goes to a certain point. Once you hit a certain point of maliciousness and ferociousness, your impact, like the quality of your impact, goes down and actually begins to hurt you and lower the impact of what you're doing in a positive way. This is what they called in the book the inverted U curve. For a certain amount of time, your positive impact goes up when you're doing something or making an effort. It kind of plateaus a little bit, and then it goes down when it does too much. Now, this is exactly what MLK was thinking of, maybe not in the same terms, but when he was calculating which way he was going to go with his protest, this is exactly what he was thinking about. To think that this is what led to pretty much all of the progress we've seen in minorities versus the majority. It's pretty amazing how this one man was able to think that differently, going through all these terrible times, and led to the change of history, and which circles back to the first point in the beginning, that in adversity and difficulties, greatness can emerge. And that's basically it for this one. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I'm going to be doing more, hopefully 5-6 times a week. So comment below any book suggestions, any preferences. Sometimes I might be sitting down. I just felt like standing today. I was a little excited to do my first one. So yeah, let me know what you guys think.